Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. This week, I'm looking at the news and current events. Obviously, headlining the news is the mess that's going on over in Israel and in Gaza and in the Middle East. I talked about it yesterday from the perspective of what makes a just war according to a philosopher's approach. And I recognize not everyone necessarily agrees with that, but it is what a lot of the thought is, and it seems to be what's been adopted by many. But today I want to shift that focus. The latest headlines have indicated that Israel has ordered a complete closure of Gaza. There are videos now that are showing the details of this surprise assault. I was on the phone yesterday with a buddy of mine who said that he's got a cousin or a friend with two cousins who were at the rave, at the concert, where the Hamas soldiers were just indiscriminately gunning down people. And two of the friends got killed at that. That was just point blank shooting. The Israeli prime minister has come out and said, we're fighting barbarians and we will respond accordingly. And all of this has got me sitting there thinking, as a Christian, remember Jesus, the Prince of Peace? As one of my buddies who's Jewish says to me quite frequently, one of the Old Testament understandings, the prophetic understandings of the coming of Messiah, was that he would bring peace. And we don't see a lot of peace right now. And you wonder where the peace on earth and goodwill towards men that was being announced by the angels at the birth of Jesus. Where is that? Well, I want to put that into a biblical perspective, because it's what's going on in my head, and I'd like to share it as part of a video thought. We have wars and controversies here on this earth. It's a fallen earth. It is an earth of warfare. It can be the big wars like happening in Ukraine, like we see in Israel, or outside Rutland, Vermont yesterday. I was reading about a university dean who was shot in the head while out hiking. And we have a lot of violence and gun violence here in the U.S. especially, but in other areas of the world as well. Where is the peace? I guess is the question. And the response has got to be, first of all, the greatest enmity, the greatest problem of peace isn't directly the fighting that goes on in these places, but every human being is subject to a peace war within themselves and between themselves and the divine and God. You say, well, I'm not at war with God. Well, it depends on how you understand things, but our harmony with God needs to be based on something other than our own merit. And that idea of finding an internal peace and finding a peace with God, I think, is what Messiah brings. I think that's why there's peace on earth and goodwill toward men. It's God's declaration in Jesus that God is seeking peace internally for you and me, and peace eternally with him. And so when we see the wars, as Jesus said, you're always going to have wars and rumors of wars with you. We should not be surprised, but neither should we let it rob us of the peace that we can have with God and knowing he is in control as we walk righteously before him, the peace that he puts in our hearts. And that's what I urge us to think about while we're reading these news reports. We have responsibilities. I'm not shunning away from those. But we can walk in those responsibilities with peace, seeking to bring a greater peace on this earth And that, my friends, is your video thought for the day.